Hey, it's Jang here with a look at the LEGO Ideas Wall-E, the official production set. This came with 677 pieces. The idea was submitted to LEGO Ideas by one of the higher ranking dudes on the entire real Wall-E project. He worked on this over time and eventually was able to get it to be past all of the hurdles involved in getting an Ideas project made real, and here it is, the real thing. This is pretty cool looking. I mean, Wall-E was and is a much loved character, and I think that just at the first glance you can clearly see that the entire character of the character was captured in this LEGO model. So fundamentally, just from the start, you can just look at it just like this without getting any closer to it and see that this is a successful project and this is a well done LEGO set. But it's not without some flaws, but I think most of it is good. There are no stickers on this set, so you get exclusive printed pieces. That is nice and deluxe. And if you didn't notice already, this is the school bus yellow color, not just a regular yellow. This is the slightly orangish yellow color. One of my favorite areas. For some reason, there's something about this area in here. I just like how that got shaped up. But it is really nice to get this somewhat uncommon color and lots of pieces in that color. The front opens up, of course, plenty of space in there. It's just completely empty on the inside, which is good. You can store stuff in there. The tracks, I think, look pretty good, but they don't roll very well, especially on a hard surface. It's kind of limited there. And also, I don't know why they didn't put something here in the front. The actual movie model, I think the original Ideas submission from the guy who submitted the idea looked a lot better than this in the track area. This might be a little bit more durable, but they could have put a wheel piece, something gray here on this front one. It's also unfortunate that they have to use those blue pins. Sometimes it kind of shows up a little bit too much, but there's a good reason for it to make it easier in general across the entire LEGO world of products for folks building things to find parts. Around the back, this looks great. This section here with the little compactor back on it is very, very nicely done, and it's nice and smooth. Yeah, that is proper. The whole body of the thing maybe is a little bit short. I think the actual thing is a little bit taller than this, and the original model was a little bit taller than that, but I think it looks okay. Again, it's still captures all of the feeling of what you need, and it does have the sliding arms. So this is a feature of the real Wall-E, in the movie and all. It had the sliding arms. It could actually move along a track towards the front and then move down. And I do wish that they had brought in a dark gray color right here instead of the light gray, just to kind of continue that to give you the idea. Even though it's not able to actually move the arm in there, I think that's fine, but I think that should have been dark gray. And on the original model that was actually submitted by the original creator, it was dark gray. The arms work fine. I really do appreciate the motion forward and back, that it just slides in there. It uses a little rubber piece to give it a little bit of friction. You can rotate the arms, or rotate the wrist around, and you have these pretty realistic looking hands. I mean, that's a pretty good representation of the flaps, and you can move these individually. A lot of friction in there, but it's fine. It works out nicely. You kind of get a stud end right there at the end of that axle piece, so you can attach things to it. For instance, his little flower pot, his little plant over here is able to be attached because they use a Technic piece on the bottom. Just a brick, and that's just has an axle pin going through it to hold the 2x2 round brick there, and just wrap the fingers around, and it looks really good. And you can raise this up. It looks good. It looks triumphant. And speaking of looks and expressions, those eyes are done very nicely. You ideally would want them to be pointed a little bit more towards the centers, the surround a little bit, but again, I think it really captured the look well, the essence of the real thing. And you can rotate these down. Look at that. You can move just one of them, so you get extra expressiveness there. That's good. You can rotate this around, and the whole thing is actually on a couple of arms in there with ratcheted joints, so you can bring this forward and also bring it down. You can kind of lean it back. You can turn the whole thing up, yeah, it's got a good range of motion, all that stuff. The only one bad thing, and this is something I'm not going to harp on too much because so many reviewers have already covered this issue ad infinitum, is that this rotation right here is way too loose, way too loose. So I've been very careful to avoid that up to this point, but if you're just trying to pose it, no matter what, the front wants to come down because there's just not enough friction in there. Lego found an issue with units that were sent to the United States with this right here being too loose going forward and back, but from what I've seen, they're not going to correct this issue of the neck just going down. But if you want to do there's a fix out there that was published with just amazing level of detail. But if you just want to do this simply, you just want to bring in a little extra friction, just pull that up a little bit. It's just that one joint where there's a pin that comes from this ratcheted assembly. There's a pin that goes into a little Technic 1x3 beam. And if you just pull that up a little bit, it's cheating, but then you get friction. So now it's not perfect. It won't give you a full hold at every angle, but you can get a lot of angles that you want. So let me just let that get settled, and that's about where it wants to go, which is way better than you can get by default. It's really unfortunate that they allowed this to come out with so little friction there. Obviously a Lego fan has already figured out, I'm sure multiple people have figured out good ways different ways to fix that. But like I said, just pulling that up a little bit, it's technically cheating, but it does allow you to get a lot more expressiveness and way more poses with this thing. So rather than always having the head fall to the side, you can at least get some of these, inquisitive looks of WALL-E. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a nice, simple way without having to buy a whole bunch more parts. You can see right there, it's still trying to move, but you get it to a point where it will be happy. This actually is not quite, there we go. Yeah, so there are limits to it, but you can definitely do a lot more than the default build. This little thing right here, that's HAL. That's supposed to represent the little cockroach, the indestructible cockroach. It's unfortunate that it only has one antenna, but it's a small scale Legoification of the thing, and they had to use current pieces that are available, so they did what they could. I think it would have been nicer if that was just a little bit larger to kind of get that idea across a little bit better. But overall, there you go. That's WALL-E. Like I said, right from the start, you just look at the thing and you see that it's a good model. It's a good thing. It looks cool. It's fun to look at. It's a nice display model. It's obviously not made to be really played with. That's not the idea of it at all, but I feel like it really goes above and beyond what it needs to do with the level of posability. Again, just pull the head up a little bit. You can get a good reasonable range of poses there. These arms are great. I love the moving forward and back. This is just a nice idea. Even if you don't use that much, it's nice to have that open space there. Too bad you can't really open the back up like that, but I think it's fine. And I like these hands. I like the inclusion of Hal the cockroach. I really like the inclusion of the plant there. It just adds so much more to the story. It just captures more of the story by doing those things. And so much of this is just really good. So I am personally very happy with this. I think it's a success. I think it was a good idea, and I think it's well executed. It's definitely quite different if you look at the minutia, quite different from the original build. Lego really completely redesigned the thing. Could have used an extra little bit of something here, but it's easy to customize that in, and definitely should have had the better setup for the neck. But other than that, yeah, I like what I see here. So that's it for my look at this set. Feel free to share what you think about this set based on what you see by leaving a comment down below. I'll be talking to you again very soon.